The method. I definitely don't consider myself a method actor. Um, whatever that means. But I do think that this character and this part in particular was, I think, just a little bit more difficult to like uh swing in and out of.
Nerd Reactor, roll out.
How's it going, Willa?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. There's like so much stuff I want to talk about this movie, but there's so many things I can't say because this movie is very, it's hard to just talk about it because like uh your role, right? Like it's amazing. It's amazing. And the performances, I think this one's gonna be the one where a lot of people's gonna be talking about it. And so I guess what a strange darling. We'll start off with what do you want to say about this movie that to the world, like in terms of this
Oh, that's all.
thriller, the horror aspect.
Yeah. Um, I mean, it was one of those movies that I got sent the script for, that my agent called me and she was like, I have this script, you have to read it, you have to do it. And she never says that. And so I immediately read it and I immediately called her back and I was like, you're right, I have to do it. How are we gonna get it? And it was just kind of, it was one of those like kind of singular experiences where the thing you really want ends up happening, and that's not usually how it goes. And um and I think that I was so drawn to the script and so attracted to the project because it was so clear on the page that JT had a very distinct vision, that he knew how he wanted to execute, and he had a specific set of ideas and opinions and things that he wanted to investigate and interrogate. And that's really exciting as an actor when you come across someone who has such a distinct perspective on the story that they want to tell, because that's not always how it goes. And it was just also like the best script I'd read. Um, and and I feel very lucky that I get to be here talking to you about this project because I love it a lot.
Yeah. And with the performance, right? Would you say is it something you have to like dig deep into, whether it's like the method acting part or you can like just kind of like switch back and forth?
um I mean, the method. I definitely don't consider myself a method actor. Um, whatever that means. But I do think that this character and this part in particular was, I think, just a little bit more difficult to like uh swing in and out of. Like there wasn't like every week I would ask JT to get dinner or lunch or whatever to kind of like talk about every scene that we had coming up the next week, and to like make sure that we were on the same page about it and kind of like get and do a lot of the directing work in that kind of like conversation that we had, because it, it was kind of hard sometimes to like have a full blown conversation on set about something that we were shooting. It didn't, it, for whatever reason, for this character, it felt better to kind of just be going once I was going. And JT was down with that, and we had a really great dynamic. I mean, people will say to us, they're like, have you guys known each other for years? And we're like, no, we just did this movie together. That was crazy. um yeah, and I think we just got really lucky. I think that we kind of like understood each other, and certainly understood each other by the end of shooting.
Yeah, and my last question would be because this is a horror thriller and crazy things happen in it. Was there any inspiration from like, other horror thrillers for you to prepare yourself for this role?
I mean, a movie that JT, we talked about kind of references for movies and stuff visually in terms of what he was trying to accomplish. And a movie that he had told me to watch early on is called Bug. I don't know if you've seen it. And it's great. It's wild. It's also kind of about two people who meet and go on this kind of wild adventure together. And there's something about the sort of psychological journey that those characters go on that I found really interesting and kind of very relevant. And I guess in terms of like other things I was inspired by, I was very inspired by just Charlize's performance in Monster, and the ways in which she transformed in that character, I found really inspiring as an actor. And I would say the note that JT kind of gave me again and again over the course of shooting was kind of just to like go for it and go in the furthest possible direction of the thing that you're exploring. And it's rare that you get the opportunity to do that. And so that was really something that got handed to me that I was very grateful for.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot, Willa, and I can't wait for the movie to come out and for people to see it, and then everyone can talk about it. So yeah,
Let's have
have a
another
great,
conversation.
yeah, yeah. I love the lighting over there. It feels very fitting for Strange Darling. So yeah,
Does it? Good.
yeah,
It's oh yeah, the red. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
Oh,
red,
I
yeah,
didn't even see
Yeah.
that, so you mentioned.
yeah.
yeah.
Pink.
And okay, thriller,
Not a
horror,
primary
strange.
color.
Yeah, it's hard to talk about this movie without spoiling, but I'm gonna try because there's so many twists and turns, and the trailer. I'm happy that the trailer didn't give too much away. So
Me
what was
too.
that? Yeah, how hard was that? Like just try to craft something and making sure, like, hey, let's try not to spoil things via the trailers or through like this interviews.
Thank you to the marketing team at Magenta Light, our distributor,
Yeah.
because you make something like this as the artists. The thing gets purchased by a distributor, and sometimes you have very little control over the marketing materials. And in this case, I did not have any control over the marketing materials, but I just so happen to love them. So I think they're doing an excellent job, drumming up interest without giving too much away.
And with the movie, I think the performances it makes it where you're on the edge of your seat. You're figuring out things, how things are happening, and also the nonlinear storytelling. So, what was the inspiration for that?
It was never a goal to make a nonlinear film, although sometimes that's just how my brain works because I'm nuts. So I'm all over the place. And so when this came to me, it was started off with this single image of archetypal final girl running through the woods in slow motion, and that's where it began. And then I started seeing chapter 3, and the way you see it unfold is the way it came to me and the way it was written. So it wasn't the type of thing that was written in a linear fashion and then shuffled up or anything like that. That's the way it came. And I thought, the reason it was compelling to me, the idea compelling enough to write it, is because of the way it's revealed narratively. And so it's really the only way I think it would work.
Oh yeah, and Giovanni, I just love just like the way the lighting is in this movie, especially like when they're in that what is it, the motel, the signage, and then the seats, how everything's done. So what was it like for you? Like just every shot, like was it like, okay, I gotta make it like this and then like that, like every single time, or
I guess maybe sort of like that.
Just like that.
Yeah,
I
no.
think.
So JT and I had a 4 or 5 month prep period where we discussed the movie, and we did. I mean, it was just this extensive. We created this document that I think was 82 or 83 pages. We did tests. We were watching movies together. So we really had a strong idea of what we wanted to do, but everything was really born out of character and story. And so for that one specific scene where they're talking in the truck, I don't want to give too much away. It was
It's the meet cute scene.
The meet cute scene.
Yeah. Right?
From the writer. Yeah.
I think it's the meet cute.
It's cute.
Yeah.
We wanted to have, start sort of have the colors and these primary colors be emblematic of what was going on with the characters. Yeah, I guess it was sort of different, and but yeah, I don't know what to say.
with this the horror thriller, like how crazy was there a limit on how crazy you want it to be? Because crazy things happen. Could we
There's
There's never a limit. Crazy.
There's never a limit. We wanted to be. Listen, I definitely. It depends what your threshold is, and everything's relative. So some people think the movie's extreme in certain moments, and Maybe others feel a different way. For me, it was restrained, actually, from a standpoint of explosive violence and anger and all that. Like, I wanted to make sure we kept it restrained, except in certain moments, because I wanted those moments of violence to really pop and really be effective. And I also wanted to focus on this movie having enough intimacy and elegance and quiet, in certain moments as well, because on some level the movie's about a relationship and how that relationship dynamic is changed when outside forces, even other people, come in and out of that dynamic. So yeah, there's never a limit. You just go as far as the story needs you to go to achieve the desired effect, and so we're always trying to find that balance.
I like
Yeah.
your setup looks very nice. This looks very
Thank
fancy.
you. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. And okay, so Strange Darling, right? When I was watching it, and then I was like listening to the music because I didn't watch the trailer or anything. I was like going in blind. And I was like,
Yeah.
I like this cover of the song Love Hurts. And I had to like Shazam it. And it was like, Z Berg, and then it's like, oh, and then I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I like it. So I'm glad I get to like chat with you. And let's talk about that first with the Love Hurt, the cover version, and the inspiration behind that.
So Love Hurts was JT had it written into the script. It was kind of the first thing, and he knew that he wanted it. And it's the only thing that we kind of disagreed on initially. I was just like, sure, you want Love Hurts? Like my favorite record of all time is Scott 4 by Scott Walker. Like, I like unhinged music. Like, perfect simplicity is kind of anathema to my being in many ways. But I was wrong. I was deeply wrong. And yeah, he really wanted it to live in that sort of world of the Emmylou and Graham version. And it was really hard for me to figure out because there are no men that can sing with that like Graham 70s voice. I couldn't think of anyone. And then I just watched Altman's Nashville, which I mean, I've seen a million times, but I love. And Keith Carradine singing I'm Easy, which he won the Oscar for that year. I was just like, that is the voice that I want. That's the voice that I need, that 70s twang. And he's my godfather. So I called him. I said, can you do me this favor? And it kind of became like, now I love the song so much, and it became kind of a wonderful thing because he and my dad have been best friends for 40 years. And he just came over the other day, and they were both sort of looking at each other and thinking about how crazy it is to think 40 years ago when they met that he and I would be recording this song together. And it's kind of become like a wonderful thing that we'll be able to have forever.
Oh yeah, and just working on this. It's like a horror thriller. So what was that like for you? Just jumping into this. Maybe did you watch the movie beforehand, or did you collaborate before seeing anything? What was that like?
I didn't see anything. I was one of the first people to read the script. So I was involved, before we even had a studio. So I knew the script, I understood the world, and JT and I really kind of saw eye to eye about the vision for it. But yeah, it was just kind of writing as we went along. And honestly, like, I am very much a horror person, both in fiction and reality. I slept through my own murder twice. True story. So I think I exist sort of dancing with the darkness at all times. So this was really the movie for me.
Oh wow, yeah. And with this, like after finally watching it and hearing the music together, like how did it feel for you? Like did it feel like cathartic or
Honestly, I've seen it so many times now, and every time I see it, I'm so grateful to be a part of this thing and to have. It's so different making a regular record and sort of writing in a vacuum and writing about your own bullshit, and it's hard to sort of like feel the gravity of it and feel the kind of beautiful weight of the project when it's just you, and having this this music that is not just about me, it's about this movie, and that everyone involved in this movie sort of came together to magically create something. At this point, I can't even understand how any movies are made. There are so many people involved. When you make a record, it's like me in my bedroom. It's so easy. But Yeah, movies are magic, man.
Yeah. But that was my last question, Zeberg, and it was pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you so much.
All right, take care.